Good morning, everyone. Today is the 27th of November, and my froggy voice meets you for the Benzinga Moneyball Morning Report. My name is Anne-Marie Band. Let's take a look at what's going on here. We're still walking up these boxes, and so what we've got is this fade and the wave up. Dips are coming into this trend line. I say, watch it. And I don't trade trend lines, but look to yesterday's close using the VWAP. It came right back into it. We are now above London high, but dancing around a bit of a critical spot from Asia Open at around 60.35. Now, my thought is Wednesday, thin volume. As Lance Roberts likes to say, the inmates are running the asylum, and that is going to give us probably an updraft. Here's the flip side. We've got a lot of things coming in starting at 8:30, and I'll probably be still in the midst of this recording when all those numbers come out, so we'll be able to see what they do to the market. But we've got durable goods, GDP, international trade, jobless claims, income outlays, and the EIA report, as well as the Chicago PMI and a couple of other things. So it's going to be a very news-heavy day. That being said, we've got a cross-current. We've got downward sloping moving averages and an undercurrent of upside pressure that is moving us to the north. So I think we still say in this box, that means pullbacks into the lower edges near 615, 612, 609, something like that. We're going to be in really good shape for upside pressure. But if you're very interested in only taking longs, I would say wait for the price action to shake and then confirm with these higher lows. And that's what we could see yesterday. We saw dip buying. We saw sideways pressure for much of the day and then a move to the north. But again, big dips into prior support. So we've got to be patient here and realize that buy the dip is still engaged. Let's take a look at the NQ. Top of the box here, value area high, 945, 20,945. I just saw a ton of buyers just jam right in there as soon as we started holding up over that level, and they are still in the process of driving that higher. What do we expect? Same sort of thing. Trend line base, holding the lows. Dips are buys. Trend is holding fairly well, and so we expect to see a test of 21,000 today under shallow volume. Liquidity exists at 21,053 and then 21,070, but heavy congestion up at 21,010. All right, so that's what we are staring down in the midst at this juncture. Good grief. All right, taking a look at the YM. Yesterday the Dow closed on a brand new high. We are right up at value area high. Notice the change in motion. Strong, steep trend line. Now, this trend line is threatening to be some kind of resistance zone, but still by the dip. Look at them coming in at the top of the last resistance zone, 44,900. 45,060 is the next legitimate leg to the upside that I see. Are dips buy zones, you betcha. So 44,900 gives us a good opportunity, but the point of control is below at 44,825. The move in the YM really told the tale. Take a look. By 11 o'clock, it had bottomed out at the bottom of this box. If you watch this every morning, take a snapshot of these, or better, get yourself TrendSpider, take a snapshot of these and see how well these boxes are giving support. So where do you buy? Not as it comes into your price, but as it leaves the price, so you know where the risk is. That is going to tell you where all the buyers came in and defended the base. Super important in general when you're looking at trading mechanics overall. Now, if I tilted this over and sort of adjusted the trend line, this is also why I don't like to trade two trend lines, because you can shift them so easily and have a completely different story like we just did a moment ago. Does it threaten as resistance? Perhaps, but 45,200 looks like where this is off to. Very big pocket of noise. And if you're really keen about only being long, 44,900 needs to hold. Otherwise, you simply have got to step out of the way until it comes back. Oh my goodness, do I love these boxes. Take a look. Here's Bitcoin, came in, broke 91,000. That was my initial target off of the breakdown of 97,500. It is now sitting right at that zone and lifting. So what's going on? We've got to break 94,200 to move. If we take this trend line and we extend it off of these two edges, it looks like price action could go to 95,300, at which point I think it would be a place to take profit. Very thin volume auction here, and volatility, the VWAP from days prior right here. But this is rounded formation for the bottom. A lot of people bought this breakout. It's got to hold above this zone. If it doesn't, we head down, and 87 is the next one, and then 83. Of course, this is what I'm thinking is going to happen here, because this needs to take a breath, but we shall see. It could be holidays, make folks very excited about maybe buying Bitcoin. I don't know. So that being said, that's what we're staring down with Bitcoin. Let's take a look at oil. Hello. Oil very sideways. You know, we know that OPEC no longer has any kind of pricing power. This is my thought anyway. We had the ceasefire that was supposed to happen at 4 a.m. I made a joke that it would be out at 5 a.m. because, I mean, whatever. But I still think that oil is in a fair bit of trouble holding, particularly WTI. We may begin to see a very big widening between the price of Brent and the price of WTI, but more on that story a little bit later. Right now, it is still in a buy the dip form until about 69.45, at which point the sellers will take over. If I draw another trend line, these trend lines make everybody crazy. I'm so sorry about that, but they do tell a very interesting story when you're staring down price action like this. So I'm holding this edge, touched here, broke right back down. So if we head up over 70, we'll be back in this trend line base. Right now, we've got ourselves some kind of broadening wedge that's just pretty awful. I like the shorts in oil. Well, I've always liked the shorts in oil over lately, and this could be a head and shoulders pattern. I mean, we don't want to meet anybody on the street that looks like this, but if it is a head and shoulders pattern like this, it's got $3 of a break, and that $3 of the break from 68 puts us down here at the 65, 66 area, something like that. So my thought is bounces into sell zones and selling the top of the range. Once it collapses, you don't want to get shredded. Once it collapses, then you've got yourself rotation. Right now we're in a cross current, upside pressure, downside rotation, lower lows and lower highs presenting. So the trend is still definitely down. All right, let's take a look at gold. Taking a look at gold, obviously we've got traders that are thinking that 2667 is the top of the region, but this is a pretty good box that you can trade. If you stare this down, see how everything's holding. The break of the box below gives us that edge that we want to consider. So the loss of 2656 or so should tell us that there's more downside. There is a savage gap here. And it could come back to there. My thought is that the dollar certainly has the ability to climb to the north, in my mind. Okay, and that is going to create a headwind for gold and for oil because they are both priced in dollars. Okay, really quickly, want to look at the RTY. Everybody's saying, oh my gosh, what's going on? Listen, this thing is still in a box. It's still in a box. It broke out very nicely. Now it's sitting in a range. The range is going to tell us what's going to happen next. And in my mind, there is a selling opportunity coming to the top of this box, 24.76. Listen, if it comes in here and sells, but it cannot get below 24.60, it's got a move to the upside very easily. It's got to move to the upside. If it does not, it's going to hold the bottom of the box and then potentially build in the volume profile based on this last area of heavy congestion. All right. So that's my thought there. Let's take a look at SPY. We've got some numbers coming in. See the market trying to hold the bounce. We faded right off of this. Remember I said 600. If 600 breaks, then we've got 601 and then 602. We just stopped shy of that 602 to the move forward, but this is still by the dip. It is very messy, no doubt. Super messy, but still holding the edge. Let's pull it out a little bit. Still holding the edge very nicely. What was day before yesterday, excuse me, VWAP close, 597. Would love to see that as a pullback that gives us a buy. We could have another day like yesterday, which was a lot of sideways range chop until it broke out at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All right, so support 598 to 599.90. It's trying to hold. Obviously, it's trying to hold the big fat round number of 600. It loses this area. You've got to step out of the way if you're long and look for the prior areas of old resistance and new support, and that's down at 597.73. If it does break to the north, we do have 603.50, and then, a round number near 605. Qs. Very sideways. This one is definitely caught in the box. Still holding the trend line. Can't get higher. Also can't get lower. So there is a break coming. Take a look. This is the most recent box of motion. Could we break out? Absolutely. It's holiday time. Liquidity all the way up here. First at 511 and then 514. And then if it does break, we'll move to the bottom of the box, and that gives us 502. Very messy sideways trading, but still by the dip. All right, take care, everybody. Very light day for me today, mostly admin stuff, and I'll see you on the streams. After that, happy Thanksgiving, and we'll be back on Friday.